Hello YouTube Pipers. I decided today I wanted to try something different, so I'm going back to my Bing's Favorites, Savinelli's Bing's Favorite. However, I'm still going to use Velvet in my pipe because I just enjoy the taste of it. I hope everybody's doing all right. We got our first taste of fireworks last night, which means Hunter did not want to go outside, so I had to wait until midnight, until most of that noise was over. I hate firecrackers. I just hate them. What they do to the animals around here is criminal. But what can you do? I used to think that they had been outlawed in this particular area, but I am obviously totally wrong, or there are a lot of people who are breaking the law. That's all I can say. If they haven't outlawed them, they should, because we have veterans and animals that are just terrified every time they go off. And I think it's inconsiderate of those who fire them and fire them for hours at a time, because they started last night at 8 o'clock and didn't stop until 11:30. Unfrickin' believable. And it just burns me, roasts my rump, as they say. But anyway, I had to wait until midnight, and then he didn't want to go out. Had to stay out the extra time, pulling on his leash like I hate doing. But what can you do? I mean, the poor guy hadn't been out since, what, 6 that afternoon, so it had been 6 hours. He needed to go. But he's just too scared to go. The reason this is so hard to draw is I have one of those little wooden filters in here, balsa, but I think I'm going to take it out because it's just too hard to draw. I've used them in that before, but this time it just won't draw, so I'm going to go without that, and I'm going to use this dadgum lighter. So much better. So much better. Open this window to that 90-degree heat out there so I can get some breeze. And I use this because it has a larger surface area to tamp this down to begin with. And then I'll go back to this one. Other than the fireworks, I hope everybody's 4th is going well. It's a long weekend, 4 days. For those of us retired, it doesn't matter one way or the other, because they're all holidays and all weekends. Okay, that's 5 minutes gone. I've noticed recently that most people seem to appreciate shorter videos, and mine tend to go from 20 to 25, sometimes longer. And if you people don't appreciate that or don't want to listen that long, you can tell me and I'll try to cut them back. But if I am not able to cut them back because I just talk too much, which is unusual for me, then you don't have to listen. You can always cut it off. It's not going to bother me because I won't know. Simple as that. But if you enjoy them and you watch them all the way through, I'm very appreciative. I'm very appreciative. It makes me glow inside to know that somebody appreciates what I'm talking about. I had one individual say that he watched for 30 seconds and then immediately went to sub the station. Which I felt was a heck of a compliment. I was thinking this was Saturday, but I'm wrong. It's Sunday. Because I wanted to go back in time on a Saturday, because this was quite a few Saturdays for us kids. There was a movie theater in our town that was at the lower end of King Street in Charleston. It was called The Palace. A little rundown theater, but it was perfect for us kids on a Saturday morning. Our parents didn't need TV or anything like that on a Saturday morning. My mother would take me, and she'd pick up a few of my friends and take us down to King Street. Down to that lower end of King Street and drop us off in front of the Palace Theater. We'd all jump out of that car. We had been saving our nickels and dimes all week. Now a quarter, we were in heaven with a quarter. It cost a dime to get into the movie. And it cost, I think, a nickel for a drink, and a box of popcorn was 10 cents as well. So that was a quarter. Great time for a quarter. Now, some of us saved 50 cents, and we were in hog heaven with 50 cents. I mean, we could go back to that stand later and get more stuff. We'd run up to the booth and say to the girl behind the booth, "A ticket, please. We want to get into the movie." And she'd say, "Okay, it'll cost you a dime." And she had a huge roll of those red tickets. I don't know if y'all familiar with those or not. And she'd tear one off, take the dime, and hand us a ticket. And we'd run up to the concession stand where they had candy and popcorn and Cokes. And order a Coke and a box of popcorn. And if we were lucky enough to get there early, we'd run down as close to the screen as we could get. Because we like to be right there in the action. And you know how those seats would sit up until you come and push them down and sit in them. We'd all jump on them, sit on top of it, ease back until our bums went clunk, clunk into that seat. We didn't push it down and then sit in it. We would sit on top and drive it down with our rear ends, which was always fun, being a kid. Well, that theater was full of kids just like us. All a hooting and a hollering, stamping our feet saying, "Start the movie, start the movie." Be drinking on our Cokes and eating our popcorn. Some people finished their popcorn early, folded up those boxes, and sailed them at the screen. That had been happening for quite some time, and sometimes those edges of the popcorn box would stick in the screen, and you could see cuts up there. I'm surprised that screen was still up there as many times as we sailed those things up. Well, when we got tired of eating our popcorn and drinking our Cokes, we'd start a hooting and a hollering. Start the movie, start the movie. And everybody would pick up that call. Start the movie, start the movie. And then the lights would go down until it got completely dark. And then up on the screen it would flash, boom, light, and it would have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the movie would come on, the title of the movie. And the music introducing that title would start blaring across the speakers all around us. And there they were, the Dalton Gang, hightailing across the screen on their horses, shooting back, bang, 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 with their 6 guns. They never loaded those things. They had about 1,000 shots in them. And they'd have a posse behind them, shooting at them, bang, bang, bang. Horse hooves just rumbling across. And we could feel it in our seats practically because we were right there. And then after that exciting scene of the chase, it would start in on people talking. And we'd start going, boo, let's see some action, boo. And they'd be talking and talking. We'd nearly fall asleep. And all of a sudden, one of the gang would draw his pistol and shoot some guy right in the stomach. And he'd double over and fall down dead. And that's when the posse came after him. And they ran for their horses, jumped into the saddle, and took off out of town and into the hills, with the posse right after them. Bang, 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 boom, boom, back at them. In the hills, in their hideout in the hills, the Dalton Gang, they'd be planning a bank robbery after they got back to their hideout. They'd be talking about this, and we'd start falling asleep again, and then it would fade, and then they'd be next to the bank, getting ready to rob the bank. Then the action would begin. They'd get the money, and one of those triangular handkerchiefs would fall off of somebody's face, and somebody would yell, "It's the Dalton Gang!" So that they had to run with their money bags, get on their horses, and get out of town. And the townspeople would say, "Get a posse together," and they'd have the posse got together right there in the street. After them they'd go, bang, 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 bang. Well, the show would go on like that, back and forth, dull parts and then action parts, and we'd be hooting and hollering and throwing those popcorn boxes up at the screen, sailing them. M&Ms would be bouncing off the screen. Popcorn would be coming across, hitting us in our laps, because we'd probably be in the front row. And then the movie would be over. The lights would come back up, and a thunder of feet going to the restroom. Everybody running to the restroom, and others running to the concession stand. At the concession stand, we'd get more popcorn, another Coke, maybe some more M&Ms, and run back to our seat. Kerplunk, get back in it. Start saying, start the movie like we did before. And after most of the seats were filled up again, the lights would go back down until it was dark. And flash up on the screen was white with those 5 numbers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the title would come on with the music. It was the James Gang running away from the posse, shooting back, bang, bang, bang. And the posse shooting at them, bang, bang, bang. And after the music and the titles had gone off, then there would be people talking. And as the talking went on, one of the James Gang would pull his gun and shoot somebody, this time maybe in the chest instead of the stomach. He'd fall down dead. And they'd say, it's the James Gang. Pretty much the same movie with different names for the gang. But anyway, it would go on like that. They'd be in their hideout and they'd be planning, this time maybe it wasn't a bank, it was a train robbery or something. With the James Gang, I'm sure it was a train. And they'd chase that train and chase that train until somebody was able to jump from their horse onto the back and climb up to the top and run across the top of those train cars until they got to the car that had the safe in it. And they'd climb down and get inside there and put the gun on the guy and tell him to open the safe. And somebody else had climbed up and got into all that coal behind the engine and point the gun down at the engineer and say, stop this train. And the guy would usually say, I don't have the combination. So they'd use dynamite and blow up the safe, which was fine with us. We loved explosions. And somebody's face mask would fall off and they'd say, it's the James Gang. Of course, there was nothing they could do about it because there was nobody in the train that could chase after them. So they got the money and they took off into their hideout. And then the train got to town and said, the James Gang robbed us. Same things happened. Like I said, it's practically the same story. But we didn't care. We just liked the action. So when that particular movie was over and the lights would come back up, there'd be feet beaten to the bathroom and to the concession stand. Of course, if you didn't have any money like us, because we had spent it all last time, you couldn't go to the concession stand. So you beat it to the bathroom and you came back. Hopefully you'd saved a little bit from what you had bought last time. Ka-thump, got back in your seat, and then start the same thing. Start the movie. Of course, the double feature was over then, and they had cartoons, so we watched cartoons. Goodness, flame kept up. Then the cartoons were over, and there was one more thing left, the cereal of the week. It could be another cowboy, or it could be Batman. It could be the Rocketeer. The previous week, whoever it was had gotten into such a jam that it looked like he was dead. There was no way out of the situation he had gotten into. So then the new episode came up on the screen, And somehow they twisted that last ending so that he wasn't anywhere around where the explosion was, and he escaped it because he wasn't. So anyway, it started. We didn't care. We just wanted to see the action. I think those usually lasted about 15 minutes until next week when the next episode came out. And the end of that came up with another dramatic ending in such a way that we thought the hero was, that he was a goner. There was no way he could have gotten out of that. And once that was over, the lights would come up. It would have been three and a half hours we had been in there watching movies. The folks had gotten rid of us and had some time to themselves while we were gone. We didn't even think about them. We just enjoyed where we were. Lived for the moment, as most people should, but it was over, and we were all kind of tired because the excitement, the adrenaline we had felt, and all the excitement up on the screen wore us out. Jumping up in the seats and throwing those flat popcorn boxes up at the screen. We had to duck those as we were walking up to get out because everybody, the last of them, they had to get rid of them. So they were sailing over our heads, sometimes hitting us body-wise. But we made it out safely. Walked from the darkness of the theater into the open blue sky, surrounded by the what we thought was skyscrapers of Charleston. But I think the majority of them were 2 floors, if that. But they were high buildings to us shorties. And my mother was always waiting right there for us to get out. And we'd all climb into the car, all excited about everything we had seen. And we were shooting people as we walked by, bang, 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 just like the Dalton Gang and the Jesse James Gang. And the Youngers. I forgot to mention the Youngers. The James Gang and the Younger Gang teamed up. So that was our history. Those guys on the screen were real people in real life. Now, those adventures had absolutely nothing to do with the history of those people, just using the names for an action adventure for kids. I don't even remember who starred in them. It didn't matter. It was the Dalton Gang. It was the James and Younger Gang. Jesse James and Cole Younger. What more could you want as a kid? Adventure, excitement. When we got home, we would go out and become the James and Younger Gang or the Dalton Gang. The Daltons were a favorite for a while. But those were the Saturday mornings for us kids. Didn't last long. I mean, it was only a few weeks, a few months that we went to every Saturday to watch these until we grew out of it. But while we enjoyed it, we enjoyed it. We became who we saw on the screen. We had those same adventures, and we might have gotten shot, but we lived. It was exciting times for children. I don't know if any of y'all got to enjoy dime movies. A dime bought you 2 feature films, 3 or 4 cartoons, an adventure serial. That's a lot of entertainment for a dime, let me tell you. Let me know if y'all had those kind of Saturday mornings, or if it was Saturday morning cartoons. Now, for us, later on, it became Saturday morning cartoons, but at that particular time, television wasn't that big a deal. And these movies at the Palace Theater were. So, I will let my memories just ride off into the sunset now and say I hope everybody's doing well. I hope your 4th of July weekend is going well. And take care of yourselves. And God bless till the next time.